Hey everybody, it's Benny, your numerologist here in Los Angeles, California. Let's dig into the forecast for November 2016. Now, last month was a one universal month, so many of you may have experienced change in directions, new beginnings, maybe even a strike of luck last month, maybe financially. Some of you may have started new projects or new projects have came to you. That's because the one is all about new beginnings, starting fresh, and launching forth on your own independence. This month is going to be a little bit different. We're going into a 2-month, which represents a time of relationships, creativity, development behind the scenes. It will be a period where things kind of slow down. Not necessarily meaning things won't be making progress. What it means is the things that you have already started on last month, this is a time where you're really going to be in the weeds, working through the details and being steady with that. This is not a month where you want to get stretched out too thin amongst a lot of wild projects. You really want to have your energy focused on those projects that really needs to be wrapped up or a lot of needs to be made progression on. That's the name of the game this month. Now the 2 highlights relationships. Now generally in the 2, it's a good time for relationships, usually peace and harmony, but we're also in a 9 universal year. So for some of you, that 9, which is bringing closures and transitions, for some of you, this may be a month where you may see a breaking away of relationships that no longer serve you. Now that's not a bad thing, even though sometimes relationship breakups don't always feel good. You have to know that the 9 is bringing spring cleaning into our lives. Because we're getting ready to enter into that 1 universal year, you don't need anything from the past holding you back. Now, I also want to make mention, 2 is generally a time period for great spiritual development and personal growth. So if you've been thinking or in that place where you need to be focusing on your craft or honing in on your craft, this is a good time for that. Spiritual development, personal growth, learning, taking a class, this is a good time for that. Now, the 2 energy also asks us this month to be a little bit more patient with life. Okay, if you're feeling very anxious about projects moving forward, I want you to redirect that energy to, instead of needing things to get done, to be more focused about the details and to be more focused about what are those step-by-step methodical things that you need to be doing. This is not a time to skip out on details or to rush things. Now, with 2, there is a warning that if you move too quickly, if you move too fast without allowing things to develop the way they need to, you could skip steps. So if you're trying to push that contract, if you're trying to force things, this is not the time for that. I really advise for you to just kind of hold back. Now, when we step back a little bit, we're entering into a 2-month and a 3-month, and then we go into the 1 universal year, which means a new path and a new cycle for all of us. These next couple months, if you are the creative type, or if you're in a space where you're creating businesses or creating projects, 2 and 3 are very, very good for that. I will also tell you that with the 1 universal year coming in, things will speed up if you have a lot of projects happening. I will tell you this is a great month. It's a time to be planning and really be hitting the pedal to the metal right now, because that 2 and that 3 energy is there to bring expansion and development. Also, for those of you who work in the public space where you're in front of a lot of people, these next good months is really good for that. Last thing I'll say about the number 2 is that the 2 is really good for collaborations. So getting ahead this month sometimes depends on you partnering up with the right people, teaming up and collaborating. It's about asking for help and not afraid to doing things, or I should say, don't be resistant to doing things just by yourself. Delegate this month. Release the need to have it all on your shoulders, because that 2 is really good when it works together. And even as you go into December, which is the universal 3-month, which represents expansion, be a really good time to get your team and your ducks in a row. Now, again, I want to highlight that all of 2016, the universal 9 year, has been challenging us to reflect and to release and to let go and to allow ourselves to be purged of all the things that are not serving us. This is relationship, emotionally. You may have experienced a lot of lessons. You may have experienced some level of loss. I want to remind you that that energy is going to be continuing to be in our charts until, for everyone, universally that is, all the way up into the new year. So this is your last hurrah. Anything that you need to release, anything that you need to hold, that's been holding you back, that you need to let go, now is really the time to do it. Because when the 1 year hits next year, life is going to be asking us to be very weightless and go with the flow and moving into our visions and moving into setting up the next 9 years of our lives. Because the numerology 1 through 9 represents a complete cycle, and this year we're ending the cycle. So it's a really, really good time for you to be just releasing and letting go. Now, this forecast really speaks from a very universal level, but your numbers are very unique, okay? So it's really important that if you really want to understand what you need to be doing at an individual level is to get a numerology reading from me. Now, I like to pull cards every month because I say that this is opportunity for us to ask the universe to say what's really happening or what we need to be more aware of. So this month is interesting. I pulled the number 22. 22 in numerology usually represents a time of building, a time of achievement, and a time of success. It's interesting that we're also in the 2 month, which the 2 is a building number. So the energy this month is really, really pertinent to our success, but we have to be active and we have to be steady. Now what you need to be mindful of, which is again with the number 22 here, which is really, really interesting, we need to be mindful that we have structure and balance, and we have a very laser single focus this month, and not allow ourselves to get too scattered, okay? Now the instructions of this month is we need to take a risk. Now, I want to be mindful with the number 5, that while we're in the 2 is not suggesting that we try new things necessarily, but the 5 is asking us to get out of our comfort zone. So be mindful of that as opportunities come into your life this month. Because if you do that, wow, number 22 pops up. If you allow yourself to be in that place where you're stretching yourself out of your comfort zone, the 22 is promising us that we'll have results. Now, as we move out of this month into the rest of this year, the number 11 is highlighted, right? Now 11 usually means illumination. Also, it represents healing. And so as we're flowing into the rest of the year, this month is here to illuminate, to bring healing, to bring closure. And that's, well, closure is more with the 9, but it's interesting with the 2, because we're in a universal 2, the 2 is all about healing. The 2 is all about compassion, it's all about love, it's all about healing. And with the 11 talking about healing, this month could help bring some closure and healing to our lives. That's really going to affect us as we're moving into the 3 month in December, which is all about creativity and expansion. You can't do that if you're in a space that's negative or you got things holding you back. Now, I want to close this out by saying, if you are in the Los Angeles area, this Saturday, which is the 5th of November, I am doing a workshop or a spiritual brunch. There's going to be food. I have a special guest. His name is Savon Champel. He is a medium. We're going to be doing audience readings. You're more than welcome to come by. If you'd like to grab passes for that, go to spiritualbrunch.com. That's where all the information is. It's going to be right in downtown Los Angeles. It's going to be an opportunity for you to network with other spiritual-minded people, eat delicious food, and really have fun in the spiritual readings. I'm going to be doing numerology readings. Savon is going to be doing mediumship readings. If you're not familiar with what mediumship is, oh my God, you're missing out so much. I dare you to go research it and just come on in and have a good time if you're here in the Los Angeles area. And remember, my website is readingsbybennie.com, where you can schedule a one-on-one numerology reading with me. I would love to see what your unique numbers are going into November 2016 and even going into 2017. Let's get you focused. Let's get you lined out. Let's get you the help that you need. And so that's about it. Love you. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave comments, share. If any of this resonates with you, write it down. And remember, 2 months, take it easy on yourself. Be very focused. Be in a state of building. Don't get scattered. Don't allow things to get you off track. Remember, relationships is highlighted this month. Collaboration is good. There may be some closures in the relationship area this month, as the 9 is doing that spring cleaning with the Universal 9 year this year. But overall, have fun, and let's talk about it in the comments below. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.